Hello, everybody, and welcome to Brooks Knows Baseball, our weekly podcast where we talk about some cool. Come on, man! Don't be eating on the podcast, man.
It's saltwater taffy, man. It's a
It don't
privilege
matter.
to
You're
eat.
already starting us off on a bad foot. But sorry about
But you're
thrown
all
off here by
talk
our
about. No, just
friend
tell
John there.
me.
But yeah, it's a weekly podcast where we discuss some interesting stories as well as stats and the rundown of the standings. This week it might be a controversial topic, and there's a reason I brought it because someone had commented on one of our last videos saying how blasphemy, and I think that Shohei Ohtani is better than Babe Ruth
Oh
as
my!
well as Barry Bonds. What do you think of that? If you can stop eating
Well,
for a second.
I think Otani's a good player in today's game. I don't think he's a really good pitcher. He's an average hitter, a little above power. I mean, but he's like 269 this year lifetime. What is he? About the same. I mean, he's no Babe Ruth. Yeah, I know times are different, but I don't care. You know, he's not the best player today. Well,
No.
he could do more than anybody else. I'll say that though. So he may be the best player today.
Yeah, but the players in America aren't brought up playing both ways. You know, it's a different mindset here. It's either you're a pitcher or you're a hitter. How many guys are brought up, even in high school? You have a guy who mainly pitch, or a guy who mainly hits and doesn't pitch at all. So I
I'll
don't know
tell you a guy in high school who did both.
what.
I'll tell you a guy who one of the greatest players in the modern era that did both in high school and had to make a decision when he got drafted. He's from Maryland. Have any idea who it might be?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
But anyway, this episode, before we get to the stats, I would like to say, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to back it up with some statistics here. And when I say this, it's not that I don't think he's a good player. I do think he's a good player. I think he's a
Wait a
very
minute.
good player.
Wait a minute.
What?
I think
What?
it's a personality issue. I just think you don't like the man.
Well, I don't like you, so uh,
Yes, the saltwater
keep
taffy.
breaking my train of thought, man. But yeah, Shohei Ohtani, again, very good player, massively, massively overrated player. And I'll get into my stats why. So if you think it's someone you say, hey, he's the best player, there's no one near him. He's the absolute best player, hands down, at this time. Not this time, but some people are saying ever. And I'll tell you why that's not
Maybe
true.
now, but not ever.
Where do you think he ranks as far as home runs in the league this year?
Oh,
You think
he's
he's
got
top
like
five, probably?
13. He's got
Huh?
like 13. That's not bad. I mean, he's on a pace to hit 30 plus.
He's
That's not
13th
bad.
in the league, so he's not top 10 in home runs. Okay. We go to RBIs. He is not top 25 in RBIs. Okay. We could go to
How many at
walks.
bats he got?
Huh?
How many at bats does he got?
He has 201. So he has more
Well,
at
he's
bats than
playing.
just.
Yeah, he's playing a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, he is more. He is. Where is he at?
But him and pretty
He's
much
top 30, roughly top 30 in at bats. We go to runs here. He would not be in the top 20. He's not top 20 in runs. We go to look at hits, most hits in the league. He is not. He's not top there.
he's
Gio
not the
Urshela.
best hitter.
Gio Urshela has more hits than him, and so he's not even leading his team there, and he's not
Wait
top
a minute.
25.
He's not the best hitter in baseball, but he's a good hitter.
I'm just going through
And
stats
he's a
here.
good
When people
pitcher.
want to say he's the best thing since sliced bread, the best player of all time, I'm just giving you stats why he's not.
Well,
He's
he's
not
not best of all time, but he's one of the best right now.
and that's not the argument I'm making. He's not one of the better ones right now. I'm saying the best of all time, and the best player of all time would be number one at least top 10 in one of these categories. He's not top 10 in any of these categories. He's not top 10. He's not top 30 or top 25 in doubles. We go to triples. That's a little skewed, but he's not there as well. RBIs, he's not top half. We go to walks. Maybe you think maybe he gets a lot of walks because people fear him so much. No,
Mm-hmm.
he is not top 25 in walks.
He strikes out a lot, don't
Well, let's see. The strikeout leader this year is Teoscar Hernandez with 75 strikeouts. And Shohei Ohtani, this is a good list to not be on. He's not top 25 in strikeouts either. If we look at stolen bases, I know he is fast, but again, you don't really see him here much. I don't blame them for really not stealing him. But again,
he? No.
not top 25 in stolen bases. Look at caught stealing. Let's see where if he's on this list. This would not be a list you want to be at. But he's He's 10th in the league for getting caught in stolen bases. So, unless you don't want to be on, he's top 10 in that. So, that's the only thing right now that he's top 10 in the league in offensively. It's getting caught stolen bases. But let's take a look at batting average. Obviously, he's not going to be top half there because he's only hitting 267 this year or 269. So, we go to on base percentage, which he's probably not going to be up there either.
Hold on. Hey, pause for a minute. I'll just say this. When my team's playing him, when he comes up to the plate, I fear him and Aaron Judge over anybody.
I don't know why. The stats say you don't fear him that much. He's not top 25 in slugging. And then you go to on base, he's not going to be top there either.
It's early. We'll see
It's
where
not
he's
that
at.
early. He has over 200 at bats.
Okay. And at that pace, he's got, 13 home runs? And there are 50-some games. It's third of the season. He's on a pace to hit almost 40 home runs.
Okay.
And let's see where he's at in the year where a lot of these other clowns are at.
Well, how many of these other quote unquote clowns does he call it? There's other players better than him. Trout, who I think as well is an overrated player, is better
Did
than
any
him.
of them pitch as good as him?
No. We're
Okay.
not talking
So
about that.
he's the best
Well,
player
okay,
in baseball
you're
right
right.
now.
Let's see. Well, the best player in history of baseball should be top in both.
I'm not saying he's history. I'm saying this year or right now, he's the best player in baseball.
No, he's not.
How do you figure? He can hit better than average power, and he's a good pitcher. So who's better than that? Who can
He's a
do
better
that?
pitcher than he's a hitter, but his ERA is just shade under 3.
Would you take him on your team?
And that's a stupid thing to
Absolutely.
say. I would take Eduardo Rodriguez on my team. I'd take Bryce Elder on my team. I would take Sonny Gray on my team before I take Ohtani for pitching.
Ohtani's going to be the richest paid
Huh?
player in baseball history after this year. I don't
Maybe.
know who supported.
Let's take a look at his stats here. So, the best player in history of baseball, and you're saying the best player right now in his last 60 at bats. How many RBIs do you think he has the last 60 at bats?
That's just a small sample size,
Okay,
homeboy.
30. Last, no, it's not. 60 at bats. So, 200, it's a good percentage of his at bats
Ebb and
this year.
flow. Ebb
It's
and
over a
flow.
quarter of his at bats this year. So his last
Ebb and
60 at
flow.
bats, he has 19 strikeouts, 13. So he's striking out more than he's hitting in his last 15 games, and he's hitting 220 at 292 on base, slugging at 475. Those are not good
Well, take it.
numbers. And if you take a smaller sample size, his last 7 games, he's hitting even worse. He's hitting 154. But if you're the best player in baseball, you should at least be able to hit 300.
Okay, well, okay, and how about his pitching then? When you combine everything, he offers more than any
Okay, well,
player.
his last 7 games of pitching, he has a 3.8 ERA, which is a little bit below average, probably. That's not a Cy Young stuff right there. 3 down, hell no, that's not Cy Young stuff.
The season ain't over. What's his
I'm
overall
just
number?
saying, if you look at the numbers right now, we're not talking about the entirety of the season. We're not talking about anything but right now. And right now, you look at his stats, he's a 3.89 pitcher in his last 7 games, and he's a well below average hitter in his last 15 games.
Best player, overall player in baseball right now.
How can you say that?
Because he can do everything and do
Okay,
it
his
pretty
pitching,
damn
he
good.
pitches once a week, roughly. Once a week.
Okay, and he hits pretty good the rest of the time.
Okay, well, not in his ERA is almost 4, and he's hitting under 200 in his last 7 games, so that's
In his
good.
last 7 games.
He's good. I'm not saying he's a great. He's a
But
very good
nobody
player. He's not the best player in
playing.
baseball.
He's not my favorite player, but I'm just saying
He doesn't
he
play the
can
field
do
anymore. He's
better than
strictly
anybody
DH.
else.
So he's a DH and he's
Well,
a
he's a
pitcher,
good fielder.
but he doesn't play in the field.
Well, that's his manager's fault.
Well, best player in baseball should be able to play in the field, right?
Yeah, he can. He can
But he
play
doesn't,
good. The guy can do everything, man. I'll
except
put
play in
it
the
this way.
field.
If my team could get him, I'd
He
be
has
happy.
0 innings in the field this year. 0.
Except for when he pitches.
Okay, well, yeah, and even then he has 4 errors, so he can't even field the position very good.
Okay.
I'm saying he's not the best player in baseball.
Right now, he's the best overall player.
Well, let's take a look at the wins above replacement. Let's see where he's at for wins above replacement, because I bet he's not number 1. Wander Franco, number 1 in wins above replacement. Marcus Semien, Bo Bichette, Acuna, all those guys are higher than him.
And what's it getting Bichette?
So that's taking in
Record?
every position, right? So he's 5th in WAR, and he's tied with Sonny Gray. So that's every position. Now, let's just break it down position by position. So even if you combine that his pitching is good and his offense is good, he's still not considered the best player in wins above replacement. Offensively, you have Bo Bichette, number 1 best WAR for offense this year. Acuna, Freddie Freeman, Juan Soto, Juan Soto being there surprising me. Wander Franco, Yandy Diaz, Marcus Semien, Aaron Judge, Randy. I almost call him Sandy Arozarena. Randy Arozarena. Your buddy.
Who's Arena?
He's not even. I'm gonna make sure I'm not missing him here. He is not top 40 in offensive WAR. Top 40, and you think he's the best player in the game?
Overall, he is. Yes.
He's not. I'm just giving you every statistical
Well, I'll tell
that's
you
out
this:
there. He's not.
when you see how much he makes at the end of the year and how bad they go after him,
So, because based off of financials, that makes you the best player in the world. So, based off of
they
your,
ain't gonna pay you if you ain't no good.
yes, they will. It happens
Name them.
time and time again. Guys get paid they don't get deserved. Did Chris Davis deserve to make $30 million a year? Hell
Well, if
no.
you look at what he was
Did
making,
Ryan Howard
how he
deserve his
was
end of
doing
his
right
contract?
then,
Did Bobby Bonilla deserve his contract? People will pay you based on potential more than anything.
Bobby
Juan
Bonilla's
Soto
got
is
better
probably going to
numbers.
get a $400 million contract hitting 250. Does he deserve that?
Who is?
Juan Soto. Does he deserve to get 250? Or I'm sorry, $500 million? He probably will. Does he deserve that?
Potential in his case. He's young.
That's
He's
what
still
people always
safe.
pay out of potential more so than skill. They'll always do that. It's just like Arizona and it's paying off for him. Corbin Carroll, they had no clue if he's going to be a good player. And they're going to give him a big
Well, they
contract?
have clue. I mean, look, there's a lot
I
of
mean,
players.
you think he's going to be good, but 9 times out of 10, people get paid on potential. I'd say probably
Well,
7 times out of 10 you get paid on
and
potential
and
over.
why is that happening now?
Ohtani
Because
is
they're trying.
15th in pitching WAR this year.
Hold on. The reason they're paying those guys early is because they're banking on the guy's going to be good and you save money. You pay him now or you pay him in 10 years, you're going to pay a whole lot more.
Let me
That's
tell you
why
this.
they're
So your best player in baseball, Framber Valdez, Dustin May, Josiah Gray, Nathan Eovaldi, Stroman, Logan Webb,
Framber
Eduardo
Valdez
Rodriguez,
pitcher.
Yanier Cano, Shane McClanahan, Bryce Elder, Joe Ryan, Alex Cobb, Garrett Cole, Sonny Gray, all have higher pitching WAR than him. And he's tied with superstars like Justin Steele and just to tick over Drew
Justin
Smiley.
Steele. What's wrong with Justin Steele?
I'm just saying that you're talking all these guys are great. He's barely better WAR related than Dane Dunning, Mitch Keller,
Dane
Clayton
Dundy's doing good
Kershaw.
this
Kershaw's a good one. Okay, he's good. I'm not saying he's not a good player. He's an extremely overrated player. People act like he's the best thing
year.
in the
Stanley
world.
ass.
What are you doing with your camera there, big dog? Pick it up.
I make a pit stop.
All right, let's take a look at the standings here because I made my case. You didn't. I'm right. You're wrong.
Nope.
Yes, I am.
If your team, whoever your favorite team is, well, you got Brooklyn on your hat there. Um, if
I had a chance to trade for him in the show last night, 2 nights ago, and I didn't do it. All right, I took Blake Snell,
against my advice,
Juan Soto, and was it Trent what's the other guy's name?
Cronenworth,
Cronenworth. I took all of them over Ohtani.
Coronaworth.
Yeah. Anyway, take a look at the AL East here. Tampa Bay still leading the way. They are 7-3 in their last 10. They are 39-16, leading the Baltimore Orioles, who are still doing good. They had a bad series against the Rangers,
Hey, but
losing.
let's review their week. How was the first three games this week? That's all I want to know about.
Well, they beat the Yankees 2 out of 3. Then they lost
Okay,
two out of
that's all I
three.
want to know. That's
So
all I
it's
want to know.
and then they swept Tampa. So, I mean, they had a good road. They went 5 out of 6 on the road
Toronto they
against
swept
New
before
York
that.
and Toronto, so they did good there. The Yankees are bringing up third place, 32 wins and 23 losses. They're won 2 games in a row since losing out to the Orioles 2 games. And they got Boston 28-25, 5-5 the last 10. Toronto is reeling 3-7 in the last 10. Going to the AL Central, you got Minnesota at first place, barely, only a game ahead, surprisingly, of the Detroit Tigers.
Did they win again today? Didn't they?
The
Detroit.
Tigers,
Yeah,
they've won 2 in a row.
the game over 500. I
The
mean, a
Twins
game
are
under.
the Twins are
Huh?
3-7, man. Their last 10, they're not doing good.
Tigers got a better manager, and they're going to be. They'll then he's taking not a lot of studs, and he's doing what their game under 500. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but they're
and
6-4. They've won 2 in a row. Unfortunately for them, they have Texas coming up this week, but
they got a lot
also
of injuries.
Minnesota has
Pitching
Houston
injuries.
coming up, so they're probably going to be very similar at the end of the series.
Uh,
Cleveland is 23-29. They got Baltimore coming up. Not looking good for Cleveland, and it's in Baltimore. They got the Chicago White Sox, who are 6-4. They're 22-33. They are pretty much. I don't
Who
know.
is that? Did Chicago?
Yeah, they're still kind of a
But
train wreck.
what's their last 10 games or so? Last 20
Six and
games?
four, but I mean, their run
They're playing
differential
better.
shit, and that's not good. Then you got Kansas City Royals, who are
Yeah, what's wrong with Dylan Cease? One season wonder
he
there.
gave him a grand slam today. I know that he got hammered today. Let me see. Let's take a look at Dylan Cease real quick, because that was a guy where you would think. I do want to say this. Speaking of the White Sox, which is great baseball news, Liam Hendricks is activated.
That's
He
awesome.
beat
Yeah.
he beat cancer, and he's coming back to the team. So I really, really, really hope he does good.
I got one thing to
I'm
say to him. Congratulations, mate.
sure, sure. I'm hoping he does good. But taking a look today, they did lose 6-5 to the Tigers. Again, the Tigers are they're hot, man. It's great. It's good to see a team like that. But Eduardo Rodriguez, 6 innings today, 1 run. It brings his ERA to 2.13, which is awesome for him.
One of the best start pitchers in
People are saying
baseball.
they're going to trade him. I don't think they're going to trade him.
No, why would you trade him? They're in the race right now. How many games out of first today? 1.5, 2?
One,
Okay, so why would they? No, they're not trading
they're not
anybody.
going to trade him. Taking a
They'll
look
trade
here at
guys to
Dylan
get guys.
Cease. Okay,
Pardon you?
Dylan Cease 4 innings today, 4 earned runs, 4 walks. Brings his ERA to 4.88. Um, I don't. What do you think? I mean, his career ERA is
I've seen him
3.71.
pitch this year, but only once, I think, and he didn't. I mean, he didn't do great,
In
but
his last 7 games, 36 innings. Again, in 7 games, 36 innings. Not
uh,
good.
mm-mm.
26 earned runs in 36 innings. His ERA 6.4, whips 1.57.
Yeah, something's up with him.
In
Either
his
he's hurt
career, I mean,
or they got something they need to adjust.
I'm going to say something here. I think this is Dylan Cease. I think last year was an anomaly because if you look at his numbers every other year, apart from last year, it's been on par with what he's doing this year.
Yeah,
His
maybe.
his first year is 5.7
Hey,
ERA.
let me
Then
ask
in
you this.
2020 it was 4.
Hold
Last
on.
year or 21 it was 3.9, and
I
now
got
it's
to ask
4.8.
this. There's a few pitchers like that. Since they announced a crackdown, they're checking their hands more. Do you think there's something to that?
Potentially, yeah, I do. I
Something's
do.
going on. Look at the Orioles pitchers. They're not as good as they were.
I
You
don't know
know,
if I would say that.
Well, Kramer's not as good as he was last year. Bradish, no, I think he pitched good today, but look at old the guy they got rid of went to Kansas City. I'm having brain Lyles. He's getting
Well, I
hammered.
mean, you kind of figured that would be him. But one guy I want to talk to, my breakout candidate for this year, was Michael Kopech.
He had a good outing last game.
In his last 7 games, he's 3-2 with a 3.4 ERA. Not bad. He's not bad at all. I'm thinking he's coming. I hope for his sake. You've always been. It's one of those guys, man. You just continue to hear about him, and he's never really reached his potential. Last year, I thought it started coming along for him. So last year's a 3.5. This year's a 4.2. So let's hope he gets it back in the threes for Michael
Hey,
Kopech. Another guy I want to talk about who I've been hearing on the White Sox about another
Giolito.
trade potential is Lucas
He's very
Giolito.
inconsistent, man.
Yes, he is.
I wouldn't give much for him.
He's a
I mean,
3.9 ERA. Not
he's Noah Syndergaard.
yeah. I mean, he's a mid three, high 3 ERA guy. And his career
We
actually is
need.
high
What we need to
4,
do.
mid 4.
We need we need to check the stats on all these big pitchers, free agents that everybody was hot for. I mean, like
Yeah.
Carlos Rodon, he don't even have a win this year.
Mm-mm.
I mean, that's a joke, but because he's been hurt. But I mean, I
Well, we'll
mean,
talk about stats real quick. Let me run through this, and we'll talk about individual stats real quick. And then we have another video coming out this week that's going to talk about a couple of things about that as well. But going to the AL West, Texas has a 2-game lead on the Houston Astros. That division is shaping to be one of the better ones, if not the best in baseball.
mhm.
They now, apart from
No, they won't.
Oakland,
No, they'll never be near one of the best in
well, because
baseball.
of
They
Oakland,
got and
Oakland has lost 11 games in a row. I feel
oh,
like
I think Kansas City's in that division.
Oakland still has 10 wins, just 10 wins. They have 45 losses. Their run differential is negative 200.
See, that's a disgrace. That's a
You
disgrace to
see what the
baseball.
Astros today? The Astros hit Jordan Alvarez hit a home run on Twitter. Um, I believe it's Astros Twitter put tens of runs for the tens of fans.
Yeah, that's a shame.
People
But
are mad. I mean, so you shouldn't go after a hurting fan base. Well, then you should show up for if you're that
yeah,
hurt. You should
hey,
show up.
they're notorious that when you can look back when they were winning World Series, nobody came.
Yeah,
Okay,
well, guess
and
what? I bet you in a couple years, no one's going to go to a baseball game in Oakland.
I heard someone said Tom Hanks might try to buy the team and keep it there.
Yeah, but no, no. Do you the market value that they would gain from going from Oakland to um, Las
Las Vegas,
Vegas is on. I mean, it's ask Mark Davis. He can actually afford a barber now. So
but they still don't use them from the looks of things.
no,
Still use
Seattle, man.
they
I'm
still got
telling
the
you, they're
Colt.
7-3. They're coming too. Seattle is 28-25. They're coming, and the LA Angels are still right around 500. That's just what they
Aren't
are.
they a little over?
They're 2 games over, but that's just what they are. They're an 80 to 85 win team every year, roughly. And then so Texas plays Detroit. That's going to be good. Minnesota plays Houston. They should fare well there. Seattle plays the Yankees. Fingers crossed for Seattle, man.
Mm-hmm.
And the Angels play the White Sox, so that should be good. And then poor Oakland plays the Atlanta Braves. So another 3 or 4 losses for them. How what's the longest losing streak? Is it the Orioles in baseball? Like 18 games or something? 20 games? How many
They
games
started out. What did they lose like 21 to start a year or season one time?
with Ripken, right?
Yeah. Well, he was on there 6 games.
Yeah. So,
Let's let everybody know Chris Taylor hit a home run today.
do you think the A's will get 30 or 40 wins this year?
Not the way it's looking right now
I mean, they're on pace to be the worst team
in history.
off of losses ever. And if you go off of winning percentage, like the second worst team since like the
Well,
1898
what if you
Cubs or
double
something.
their record? Double their record, they'd be 20-90 after 110.
Think
I
of
mean,
that.
you think all these teams that did rebuilds, Kansas City's in about a 6-year rebuild, but they haven't been that bad. Baltimore just
Well,
come out of
look at some of the teams that are coming out of it. I think Detroit's coming out of it. They're looking good this year. They got a great
a good year.
manager.
A good.
Baltimore's coming out of it. Arizona is coming out of it.
Yeah. Did
You
they win?
know,
They beat Boston today.
Arizona, they did.
They did. Yeah.
Let's go to NL East. So we got Atlanta 32-21. They are 5-5 in the last 10. Miami, second place, 4.5 games behind 28-26. Winners of their last 3. The New York Mets. This is funny. I like seeing the Mets lose. I don't like the Mets. I never have liked the Mets. You know my feelings on the city of New York. There's one thing I like about New York, but you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But there's
Yeah,
one thing I like. You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I like one thing about New York City, and I won't say that on this show. But the New York Mets are 500 after spending, what, $500 million, and it ain't working out. Maybe because their average age is somewhere between probably 45. It seems like on their pitching staff. Yet
Well,
the Philadelphia Phillies are 5-5, 25-28. Rough,
but they,
man.
hey, they were like that last year. Remember, they fired their manager. They need to
Yeah, I
fire
don't
him.
think they're going to fire the manager this year. What's surprising, the Nationals are all within 5 games of the Mets and the Phillies. And the Nationals are supposed to be a team that's going to lose 100 games this year. But I don't
The
think they are.
the
I
Nationals
think they're
will
going
not
to
lose
win. They're
100.
probably my predictions on them were a little bit wrong. Depending on how the trade deadline goes, I think Joe Meneses is probably going to be shipped out. Maybe Patrick Corbin too if he keeps it up. But they can win 70 games.
Well, no one's going to take Corbin's contract, and
Someone's going to be dumb enough to take Corbin's contract. That's who the Orioles will get. Watch.
yeah.
They'll give
Well,
him Gunnar
no, see,
Henderson
you're
and
thinking Duquette. This is Elias, okay? His track record where he's been, they don't get duds, they get studs, and you
then
know
we
that's
got
true.
the NL Central Milwaukee Brewers 28-25, 4-6 in their last 10. Pittsburgh Pirates still hanging on around 500 exactly. Um, Probably won't last much longer. Hopefully it does for the Cincinnati Reds. Surprisingly, winners of their last 3 games in a row. And then we have the Cubs. I'm sorry, the Cardinals and then the Cubs. The Cardinals are 5-5. They've kind of cooled off lately. I still think if I was a bet man, I'd put my money on the Cardinals because they're only 5 games behind first place. I still think the
Hey,
Cardinals will win that division.
big announcement. Tampa Bay got stronger yesterday or today. You see what happened?
No,
Glass now got activated.
there you go.
That's when he's on. He's good.
He's on. And looking at the NL West, a team that I said was going to be good, everyone knows you said was not going to be good. The LA Dodgers
Any team
are,
that lost again today?
yeah, they lost today, but
Their pitching staff gave it 11 runs. Yeah, go ahead.
I like to look at team success, and I think run differential is a big predictor of team success. They're plus 50 in run differential. They're going to be fine. They're going to win that division. Arizona's second place, a game and a half behind at 30 and 23. They got the 49ers. The Giants at 27-26. The Padres 4-6 in the last
Giants are
10.
hot.
Who?
The Giants.
Yeah, they're 7-3 in the last 10. They got Colorado Rockies at
They're never hot.
the Colorado Rockies. They're one of the worst teams in baseball, right? Half game worse than the Padres.
The Padres, that's another one. That's a shocker. But these teams, they go out and buy all these players. How about do like some of the teams like, well, let's talk Atlanta. Everybody's homegrown, or they'll take prospects and trade. They don't go out and
Yep.
sign big free agents. Swanson wanted too much money for more than he's worth. They let him go, and they're doing just fine without him.
Yep. So taking a look here, let's talk about individual stats. So go to hitting. We have Bo Bichette, my MVP pick, still leading the way. 78 hits, 11 doubles, triple, 11 home runs, 37 RBIs, batting 338, slugging 537, OPS 913. Gotta
Time out.
get right
Rizzo
now. Hey,
get hurt
right
today.
now, you gotta look at him for MVP.
Who?
Bo Bichette.
Yeah, but did Rizzo get hurt today?
It
That
looked
back.
like it.
Yeah,
It
could
did
have
look
been
like it.
hyperextend his knee or something.
Then we have Freddie Freeman, second in hitting at 72. He just doesn't stop. He's hitting 335. Ronald Acuna, probably the early pick for MVP in the National League. 70 hits, batting 333, 11 home runs. Luis Arez, fourth in hitting at 68 hits. He's still hitting 376, which is crazy. Marcus Semien coming in fifth in hitting, batting 298
Wait
out
a
of
minute.
64 hits.
Okay, what did you say? Who's the second or third leading hitter in American League?
In the American League,
Yeah,
it would be Wander Franco.
unless he improved here lately, it wasn't.
We're going off the total hits here, big dog.
No, I'm talking batting average.
Batting average is it. Leaders in batting average: Luis Arez 376, Bo Bichette 338, Freeman 335, Acuna 333, Elias Diaz 333, Yandy Diaz 327, Austin Hayes 322.
Third in American League.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
That is
he's healthy, but I don't ever remember seeing him start that hot. But
no. Looking
okay,
here at the home run leaders, Pete Alonso running
he
away with it
hit
right
a few.
now.
Yeah, he had
20
20
home
hits.
runs,
Yeah,
46 RBIs already. His last 7 games, he's hit 308, 3 home runs, 5 RBIs. He's coming. He started off real slow, as at least average wise this year, but he's coming on strong, real strong. You got Max Muncy, who's boom or bust, nothing else. 200 hitter, 17 home runs. Jorge Soler, 17 homers, 254. Matt Olson, average wise, surprising,
but he's had
236.
years like that before. We had his crappy average, but he's
Yeah.
productive.
Aaron Judge running again, and the running it's got to be for MVP. Got right now, 15 home runs, 291 average, 35 home runs or 35
RBI.
RBIs. Then you got Jordan Alvarez, another guy I said watch out for MVP this year. 14 home runs, 291, 48 RBIs. RBI leaders, if we want to take a look at them real quick, we have Adolis Garcia, 49 RBIs, Jordan Alvarez, 48, Alonso, 46, Rafael Devers, 44, and then who do you think leads the league in walks?
Adley Rushman.
He leads the American League. Who do you think overall?
I don't know, Rez.
Juan Soto. He has 50 walks. Adley Rutschman has 41. Take a look
But
at
Soto's numbers have come in the last 25 games, so have come way up.
He's hit 261. They can come with that much.
No,
Teoscar
he was
Hernandez,
batting like
75,
180 for a long time.
75 strikeouts. James Ottman has really,
He
really
dropped off the table.
big time. So he started off extremely hot, but in his last 7 games, okay, his last let's do his last 15 games, okay? What do you think he's hit in his last 15 games?
About 180. I don't know. That's,
Oh, 95.
think he's going back to AAA.
He has 4 hits and 42 at bats in his last 30 games. He has 17 hits and 100 at bats roughly. In his last 7 games, he has not had 1 hit. Not one hit in his last 7 games. I mean,
It sounds like Jorge Mateo.
yeah, except this guy's a prospect and Mateo's a chump.
Yeah, yeah.
But so Ottman, thinking he's probably going to head
Yeah,
down.
number one, if you're going to keep saying his name, please say it right. It's Outman. O-U-T. Out.
Tomato potato. Kyle Schwarber again. That's the reason the Phillies suck, man. He's hitting 168.
I know. Yeah, I don't know why people get players like that.
I do not either. Let's talk real quick about the qualified rookies. James Outman.
Thank you.
So, all right, the leader in average for rookies, Dominic Fletcher for Arizona is hitting 308. Masataka Yoshida is hitting 303. Spencer Steer for Cincinnati hitting 284. Josh Young,
Hey,
282.
listen, Matt McLean, he's doing really good for him. He's been up a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want Josh Young's an impressive player.
He's very impressive all the way around.
He's awesome. He's what, a 9-game hit streak going on right now?
Right now, him and Yoshida are the two best rookies I think I've seen this year.
Yeah. Well, Yoshida's also 4 or 5 years older too than Young.
Like 29.
Yeah, Young's 25. Young's last 7 games, he's hitting 429. In his last
He's really
15
good in the
games,
field.
he's hitting 367 with 10 RBIs and 3 home runs. He's a but you look at his stats, he's hit everywhere he's gone. He's always hit. Always hit.
That's why he was a first round pick.
Yeah, looking at the leader in home runs for the rookies again, Josh Young, James Outman, Francisco Alvarez, Corbin Carroll, round up there. If we look at stolen bases, I'm assuming it'd be Corbin Carroll. It is not. It's Estuary Ruiz.
Oh yeah, for Oakland. I like him.
Yeah, he's hitting 268, has 27 stolen bases. Awesome. Ji Hwan Bae for Pittsburgh has 15 stolen bases. Carroll, 14. Volpe, 13. I want to talk about Volpe real quick. Do you think there's a chance that he gets sent down?
No.
Like, at all, regardless of how bad he does?
Well, he's good in the field, and they're going to go with him.
Well, in his last 7 games, he's hitting 115.
Well, I know I watched him against Baltimore, and other than maybe once, he wasn't very impressive.
Well, his last 15 games, he's hitting 170. So is there a reason?
I think he's kind of like Gunnar Henderson. They'll come along because they pretty much always have.
Speaking of Gunnar Henderson, let's take a look. Speaking of Gunnar Henderson, let's take a look.
He had a bad day.
He did, but his last 15 games, he's hitting 250, which is great. But his last 7 games, it kind of drops to 227. Overall on this season, he is hitting just 200, so still not good. What's shocking to me, 2 stolen bases. But yeah, I guess you got to get on base to steal.
He does get on me. He walks a lot, dude.
He does walk a lot.
What's his on base percentage?
333.
Right. Okay.
But
And he's good in the field. So
he
he is now. He had a little. Well, they quit moving him around. But let's not make it an Orioles show, you say, because
we're not making an Orioles show. But since you meant, we'll talk top prospects here. He has 4 errors. His fielding percentage is 93 at third base this year.
Yeah, it's less errors than Superboy at shortstop.
Who's Superboy?
Mateo, that for some reason everybody thinks is good, and he's not. He's not worth a crap.
See, now you're turning into an Orioles show.
Well, we're talking
Gunnar
about
Henderson's a baseball story because he's a top prospect coming into the league. Taking a look here at the pitching standings, or pitching. We'll run through this real quick when we get off here. We won't run too long. Again, Sonny Gray, Shane McClanahan, Bryce Elder, Eduardo Rodriguez, and Joe Ryan round out your top 5. Sonny Gray.
Elder looks really good.
Sonny Gray's the Cy Young right now. 1.8 ERA in 54 innings. Unbelievable. Looking at complete games, Nathan Eovaldi, 6 wins, 2 losses at 2.60 ERA, 2 complete games already.
Yeah,
Looking
Valdi's done really well.
Shane McClanahan's 8 wins, 0 losses, 1.9 ERA, so he's got to be an early Cy Young favorite as well. Garrett Cole really come back down to earth, man. Remember his ERA was like under 1, now it's almost 3.
No.
2.93, love to see that. Looking at who gave up the most home runs in baseball right now, we got Jordan Lyles. I have a feeling we're going to see a DFA in the future for him because 7.3 ERA. What?
But last year he had a solid year. He had a winning record. He won 12 games last year.
He ain't gonna have a solid record this year.
He obviously don't have the pitching coaches there. But lots of times when these guys go really bad, they're injured. And they don't come out till later. So, but You know, he's been around. He did a solid job with Baltimore last year. But
Another baseball story. Again, Grace Rodriguez got sent down. One of the top prospects coming to the baseball season. He just is getting hammered hard. 45 innings from 7.3 ERA. Taking a look at the strikeout leaders right now, we got Spencer Strider, not surprisingly, 106 wins. I sound like an asshole when I say this. Second place is Shohei Ohtani at 90 strikeouts. They've got Kevin Gausman at 89. Mitch Keller, Pablo Lopez round up top five there. Whip leaders in baseball this year, same as it's been the last 5 shows. It seems like Tyler Wells, .84. He kind of had some rough games this week, but they're still only hitting 176 against him. ERA at 3.47. Joe Ryan, another one who I think is being a superstar. Shohei Ohtani, 4th place.
hey,
And
I will say this: when you know, to change subject a little bit, as bad as you hate the Yankees, I will say this: when you watch them, at least all their players look like men. They don't look like little girls with hair down in their asshole. And I hate these guys got this floppy hair hanging down past their names. So that's just ridiculous. You know, if you're a man, look like a man. The Yankees don't have that. You don't see facial hair.
I
You
think
don't
the
see,
greatest man of them all had long hair and a beard, and his name was Jesus Christ.
okay. You trying to tell me he couldn't hit a curveball? Oh, come on, Harris. Don't start a holy
You
war
ain't
here.
got no argument for that. You don't.
Well,
One thing I do
we're
want to
not
say.
talking about that. We don't know that for a fact because we weren't there.
Well, next one's Brooks Knows Religion, baby. But
Amen, amen, brother.
we are going to actually have another show coming out this week. So if you're still here watching this at 37 minutes roughly, be sure to check it out. Like this post, share it, comment on it. We had a couple comments on our last video, most we ever had. So maybe we should keep doing some controversial topics, like saying
Well, if you
Shohei
keep
Ohtani is
telling me
overrated.
Shohei Ohtani ain't any good, then you're just going to have controversy because you just don't know. It should be Jeremy doesn't know baseball. That's what it should be. And John knows
There's some things
baseball.
that I do know. I just can't say it on here
Oh,
because
show
I
your hat. I can't see your hat. Everyone wants to see your hat. Tell them what it is.
can't clip these wings,
Like,
baby.
yeah.
It's an Orioles City Connect shirts, jersey, hat.
What'd
I
you
thought
think
they
of
were
that?
good.
I
I
thought they're.
liked them. I don't know if a lot of people like them. I'd really like the hat, clearly, if I got it. But
I like the whole
Baltimore, um,
ensemble.
I they let them celebrate as much as they want about the city of Baltimore because they need all the good press that they can get.
Yeah, no. If you've ever been there, don't
Well,
don't go
Camden's
back.
nice. Inner Harbor's nice. Other than that, don't go.
No, well, when you were there last, probably you were just, you were in downtown.
I was there after the Freddie Gray riots too, about a
I
week
actually
after the
lived,
Freddie Gray
I
riots.
actually lived in Maryland, and it was nice where I lived. But then, anyway,
I
all
like the
right. Well,
way. Speaking of that, just touch on that real quick. I like the way that the Rangers do it. It's like their whole little. I mean, the city of Arlington does it. It's like a whole sports complex just dedicated to sports teams. You have the old Ranger Stadium, which is XFL Renegades. You have the baseball stadium right across the street, and about a
and
half
the
mile down.
rugby team's there too.
Who?
The rugby team I learned yesterday. They're professional Major League
I knew
Rugby
that.
players.
Yeah, I do work with them,
Oh yeah,
but
you. Oh yeah. Okay. People
I,
actually
I what?
people actually pay to see that crap stuff.
Well, hey, keep selling tickets, man.
Hey, it was on. We were out at a restaurant, and it was on, and
They play.
surprisingly,
Yeah, they play there.
yeah,
But I lost my train of thought.
and that's it.
Oh,
We're, but,
well, no, we're gonna have one more thing. We're gonna have another video coming out about the top 5 teams in baseball and what they did to get to them, what they did, the moves that they made to get to the position that they are. It's gonna be about a 30-minute video. That will probably get released Wednesday because I know we got a little extra time with tomorrow being the holiday, Memorial Day weekend. So thank you.
great holiday for America. That's right.
Hmm. So if you want to
Thanks
go
to
ahead and
all
give
our
a sign off,
veterans.
BF John, and we'll get
Yeah,
going here.
sign off's gonna be different today for me because I'm just gonna
I'm
thank
going to
all
end
the
the call. You
veterans.
better hurry up.
I'm thanking all our veterans for what they've done, and God bless America.
Wingo. Good night, everybody.
Good night, John Boy.
Thanks, BF John.